Hello there. Welcome back to G's Chronicles, and I'm your girl, Miss G. On this platform, we talk about God, we talk about life, and we bring the two together to see how we ought to live life, the kingdom way. If this is something that you may find interest in, feel free to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell just to get notifications every single time a new episode drops. Without much ado, let's delve into today's topic. It's a new month. It's a new month. October, October, October. Oh, hi guys. Hello everybody. Welcome back to G's Chronicles, and I'm your girl, Miss G. It's been 2 minutes, but I am back. New month, new things. Yes, yes, and big announcement. You probably are watching me on YouTube. You probably are listening to me on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Google Podcast, whatever platform you're listening to me through. We are back for season 2, bigger and better. The last time we talked, the last time we met, I was on podcast platforms only. But this time we've gone a little bigger. We have come to YouTube because of so many people requesting me to do that. And here I am. So y'all have no excuse, Y'all have no excuse. It's been so long. Is it though? It's not really been that long since I was in front of the camera because there's still other things I'm doing apart from G's Chronicles, but being my personal content, I think it's been quite a while ever since I was in camera. But it's good to be back. So please, 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 before anything, let me get to the things that we normally do. Like, share, comment. Hit that. What? Like, share, comment. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell just to get notifications every time we drop an episode. Man, I missed saying that. I am so excited. I am so excited for this new season 2 of G's Chronicles, and we are coming back in style, as I told you. New month, new season, new things, because why not? I mean, so yes, thank you guys for the support that you all have given me so far. It's been amazing. But I immediately want to get into the topic of today. This being the first, I think this is when you're receiving this. This is probably the 2nd of October. So happy new month again for the thousandth time. Happy new month. For this first episode of the new season, what I wanted to do is that I wanted to give my thoughts a bit on why exactly stories and testimonies are so important. Because it's in vain to do something just for the sake of it. I mean, in the kingdom of light, in the kingdom of God, we don't just do stuff because we have the ability to do stuff. It has to be purposeful, it has to be strategic, it has to be intentional. So I already gave the story of how exactly I started giving stories on part of my first, I think my first episode of G's Chronicle. So if you never got that, please go into Spotify and listen to that particular episode. So I already gave that story, but I want us to get an understanding of why exactly testimonies are such a big deal when it comes to the dealings of God and with God. So as I told you guys, God has told me several times, tell people what I have done for you. Tell people what I have done for you. And this is also so in the stories of the Bible. I mean, if stories are not important, let's just start from there. If stories are not important, how exactly would we find out about God in the Bible? What better thing really encompasses or carries the nature and the character of God, if not in the stories of men? The story of the Bible has been written for years, and even now, I still believe that it is continuously being written through the lives of men. God has not yet exhausted himself. God has not yet exhausted the sides that he has. He has so many sides. He has so many faces to show. He has so many facets to show us. And therefore, every single person experiences him in different ways, totally different ways. I may meet with God as a provider, but even as a provider, there's still so many dimensions to that. There's still so much greatness to that, such that you can't find the whole and the totality of the experience of God's provision in the story of one person. That's why there's so many people who will give a story that is similar to the other, but in actual sense, it's just showing a facet of God that is different, that we are continually learning him, and we're continually getting to know him in his dimensions, and we will never stop knowing him. So thinking that the story of the Bible is over, I think that's just a very limiting thought. So one of the there's a certain verse that I came across some time ago. I think that was in the year 2021. I was just doing a Bible study, and I came across this verse that blew my mind. I was like, oh, it really opened me up to understand why exactly it's so important for you to give your testimonies. Why exactly it's so important for you to give the stories of what you have experienced in God and by God and through God. It's so important. So let me get this verse for you. 1 John chapter 1, verse 1. It says, "That which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked upon, and our hands have handled, concerning the word of life. The life was manifested, and we have seen and bear witness, and declare to you that eternal life, which was with the Father and was manifested to us. That which is Now this is the part that I want us to focus on. That is 1 John chapter 1, verse 3. And this is what it says: "That which we have seen and heard, we declare to you, that you also," you who's listening to the testimony, "that you also may have fellowship with us. And truly, our fellowship is with the Father and with his Son, Jesus Christ." So let's first of all break down what it's talking about at the very end. It says, "And truly, our fellowship is with the Father and with his Son, Jesus Christ." The moment that we have experiences with God and we have testimonies and God has come through for us in one way or another, that is a form of fellowship. That is a form of oneness we're coming into with God. We're coming into with the knowledge of God. That the moment I come, I was sick and now I'm healed. I have come into fellowship with the dimension of God of being a healer. I have come into fellowship with the side of God of being very caring, of being loving. I have come into contact with the character of God towards me and towards disease. I have clearly noted that God hates diseases. That is not his thing. That's not from him. And I've also come to understand that he loves me enough to separate me from what he doesn't like, and he doesn't want that for me. I have come to fellowship with the power of God, his ability to actually bring an end to ailments. Yes? So I've come into fellowship with certain dimensions of God through this particular testimony. Now, that is what it says, that, "And truly our fellowship is with the Father and with his Son, Jesus Christ." Now, the first part of it says, "That which we have seen and heard, we declare to you." Meaning that which we have experienced in God, the things I've heard from him, the things I've seen in him, the things I've gotten to encounter, I speak to you about them, that you also may have fellowship with us. that you who's listening to me, that you who's listening to a testimony may come into the fellowship. Remember the fellowship I talked about? The fellowship with the knowledge of God and the fellowship with the dimensions of God that is being shown in this particular testimony or in this particular occurrence. The moment I give it out to someone, then I bring them also into this fellowship. So they may not have physically experienced God as a healer, but through you, they will have gotten into contact with God as a healer. They will have gotten into contact with the love of God for men. They will have gotten into contact with the power of God over ailment. They will have gotten into God. They'll have gotten into contact with God, with that knowledge of who He is and what He's actually made of. So, if anything, I am helping you to know God. I know it's really obvious. It's probably sounding like it's obvious, but it's not. There's so much depth and power to the place of in the place of testimonies, in the place of our personal stories and our personal experiences. In a different version, message version, this is what it says. We saw it, we heard it, and now we're telling you so you can experience it along with us. This experience of communion with the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ. There is so much power. There is so much kingdom advancement that goes on the moment that I open up my mouth to declare what God has done for me. It is a responsibility of yours to become a witness of God to the world. My work is not to convince you that there is Jesus, but my work is to tell you what He has done for me, that I may help you come into communion with whatever I have met with Jesus for. And so if you are new to my channel, on this platform, I give stories and just experiences of mine about how God has come through in this way and in that way, what He's taught me, how I've experienced life every single day. And any single thing about life that God has been present is worth telling the world about, because it is amazing that a big God and such a majestic God would be interested in the little details of my life, to a point where He can tell me about what to wear, what not to wear, what path to walk in, what path not to walk in. And the thing about it is He's very intentional. And the more I speak about the testimonies and I give the stories of what God has done for me, I not only build you who's listening to me, but I also build myself. I get to remind myself constantly. That God came through for me in this, And one of the things that I told God as I was starting this particular platform, since it's particularly about just giving stories of my experiences with God, I told God, Lord, as I give these stories, I want to remember and I want to relive those moments and fellowship with you again. Fellowship with you, commune with you again through that story, and just be reminded that God came through for me at this time, to generate a heart of thanksgiving, to just to learn more about God. That I read the story of my life. I read the Bible story in my personal life, and I'm like, yo, God, hey, okay, so this is how you do it. So it's never in vain to give your story. It's never in vain to give your testimony, no matter how small it is, no matter how ignorable it is or it seems to be, no matter how basic it may look like. Oh, the moment that God is involved in the little details of your life, then you will find out that He actually cares more than you think He does. He's actually present for you more than you think He is. So, This is just an incentive for you to give more of your testimonies, for you to open your mouth and declare the goodness of the Lord to the world. Please do that. Even if it was one small thing, do that. Be faithful with that. Part of being faithful with the things that God has given us, the things that God has given us, including the experiences, because it is God who chooses to reveal Himself to us. I mean, if He was to hide Himself, nobody, I tell you, nobody would be able to find where God is. I promise. Absolutely nobody. But He's chosen to reveal Himself to us through our experiences. And so, if we're faithful with that one experience that we had, and we're faithful with the second, and the third, and the fourth, then the Lord, the Lord is surely faithful to make His presence known to you more often. Because that's just how things work. Of course, some of the things He'll tell you, keep this between you and I. But there are things that you have to speak about. You have to tell testimonies. I don't mean you tell them immediately, but please ensure that you tell them because it helps somebody out there. Yes. So that is the understanding I have about giving stories, and that's why I give stories on my platform. So this season is going to be quite interesting, as always, giving so many stories, different stories of different nature. Some of them are very emotional, some of them are just fun and funny, some of them look very basic, some of them I consider them really, really huge. Yeah, and I believe that God is faithful to make Himself known through these stories. The same way you read the Bible and you get to find out about God is the same way you can listen to testimonies and find out about God, because He's still that pattern that was there, that He was revealing Himself to people through their experiences. That pattern is still there even now, that He's still revealing Himself to people through their experiences. Thank you so much for joining me for this first episode of my second season, of our second season. I hope that you're blessed and I hope that you've been edified. So please, again, like this video for the sake of the algorithms. Share it with your friends that they may also know and may come to communion with Christ through the stories that we give here. Let's have discussions on the comment section. Tell me 1, 2, 3 things. What do you think? Why are testimonies important? What are some of the things that you have really realized about testimonies? Has there been a time that a testimony has so much impacted you? Someone else's testimony has made you receive your own testimony? Please tell us in the comment section. And finally, please, one of the most important things, please subscribe. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, subscribe to this podcast platform, and let's build this community. Yes, we're starting from literally ground zero. I don't even know what number of subscribers I have right now. I think I probably have 1 or 2. I really don't know. But I'll be glad to see us growing together and colonizing this world with the gospel. Amaniaji. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I'm your girl, Miss G again, and this is G's Chronicles. Deuces!